All right. I wanted to say something because I saw Gary was replying to a comment, and I think it's the guy who was saying this to me, who objected when I said that the EMF, the electromagnetic field, was the medium that photons go through. And here's the thing. First of all, this is a purely semantic or rhetorical. It might be a non-common way of thinking of mediums, but I don't think I'm alone in having this view. But you have to understand it's purely semantic. It changes nothing about anything about science to consider the EMF as a relativistic medium, right? Some sort of a special kind of weird medium. Now, the ether was imagined to be a medium like water or air, right? The bird's flying through the air, but the air has a speed as well, right? The bird's actually flying relative to the airspeed. So a bird can be staying aloft at 30 miles an hour and really staying still over a spot in the ground because the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour. It was not that kind of a medium. Okay. The speed of the photon, one of the ways it was derived, was from the interaction of the electric and magnetic force, which causes a ripple that travels at that speed through the electromagnetic field. Now, you could just say, oh, well, it's not a medium. The photon's just going through empty space. I would say the space in that case is a medium, but whatever. It's just going, and you call the thing it's going through this field, and so, oh, now it's the medium. No, because you can have electromagnetic field without a photon. You just put a magnet out there in the dark, and there is electric and magnetic field, or is it just magnetic field in that case? Whichever. The point is, it's active in those fields. So this field exists in the sense that we may have mischaracterized it in some sense, but the part that is solid is that every point in space there's an electric and magnetic field component or not, right? Separate from its neighbor, related by locality but separate. Separate value. You can have one magnetic field vector here and a different one over here. So it's a thing, and it's the thing that the photon's traveling through. So rhetorically, in language, the meaning of what a medium is, that qualifies as a medium. Without the electromagnetic field, no photons. If you could shut down the electromagnetic field or make it dampen so it's just always zero or anything like that, there'd be no photons. It's the thing the photons are traveling through. And the thing something is traveling through when it's wave-like is its medium. Now, arguably, the thing a particle-like object travels through uh, is also its medium, right? The water is the medium of the fish, using the word medium like a context. But talking just about wave mediums, it's the thing it travels through. So it's a weird medium because it's not with its own rest frame like water or air. It's it's always using your rest frame. And if you change your rest frame, it transforms into the new rest frame. So that the speed of light is always the speed of light relative to you. Except oddly when you accelerate and things like that, right? Non-inertial rest frames. We don't ever get to talk about that because we're stuck at these other levels. But I'll stand by my semantic argument that it should be called a medium because we're talking about the philosophy of science. That's what we're really talking about. Like, this is a problem with Gary and my conversation. My view is his system isn't ready to decide at all. What we're really discussing is philosophy of science. Okay, one, he says his system is more common sense, and that creates a couple problems. Okay, first of all, I don't find it any more common sense at all. Red and blue arrows versus Higgs bosons, what's the difference to me? Uh, One one has a mathematical basis or not, whether it's common sense or not. But two also is the fact that what he's saying is whatever system he comes up with that's more common sense, it's going to be true and the mathematics will work out. It's not clear that the mathematics of what he said will work out in quite the opposite. The mathematics of what he said would mispredict, would get things wrong in the film strip. In the past and in the future, it would predict things and post-dict things wrong. Right? So this philosophical issue is it possible to link any qualitative metaphor-driven description like Gary's, is it always possible to make a mathematics that links it to what we see? And the answer is no. That's why we're all puzzled about wave-particle duality, those of us that look at the actual experiments that have been done that raise that quandary, because it cannot be rectified with another system, just especially not because that system's more common sense. There is no requirement that nature works in a way that's sensible to this machine. So it's just funny because the person that's complaining is like, well, they've just had enough then. That's just too crazy. Now, I'm also a science kook because I want to use the word medium that way, which is fine that you think that. And actually, that's good. I mean, I've been saying I'm not here representing traditional science. I have my own take as well. This is philosophy of science, and we're supposed to have our own take, and it's supposed to be philosophical, which means a different interpretation of what the state of affairs means. Right? So, an inert semantical thing is just a funny detail to consider someone as having crazy theories, because it's not a theory. It's just, I think we should call the EMF a medium because it's a real thing. It exists separate from the photon, and it's what the photon requires as its transit mechanism. And that sounds like a medium to me.